Now we shall move to principle number 3. Principle number 3 is principle of indemnity. Now what is principle of indemnity? Before that, let's understand the meaning of the word indemnity. It is derived from the word which is called as indemnify. Now what is the meaning of indemnify? Indemnify means to remove the loss and be at the position in which I was before having the loss. Suppose I had 10 rupee, right? And I lost 2 rupee. So what is my position after incurring the loss? It is 8, isn't it? So indemnify means to remove my loss and come back to the position in which I was initial. That is, I will come back to the position 8 or position of rupees 10. Overall meaning you understood? Let's read what's written here to make it more clear to you. The objective of contract of insurance is to compensate the insured for the actual loss that he has incurred. Okay? It's just for compensating for the loss that we have incurred, not for getting any extra profits. These contracts provide security from loss and no profit can be made out of these contracts. For example, Mr. Y takes a fire insurance of rupees 2 lakh. Now due to fire, he suffers a loss of 50,000. Understood? So how much is the loss? The loss is rupees 50,000. And what was the policy amount? The policy amount is 2 lakh. So he has taken a policy for 2 lakh, but while the fire occurred, the loss calculated was only of 50,000. So the insurance company will only compensate for the loss and not for the full policy amount. Very important line. And based on these lines, generally the insurance company works. Means whatever be your insurance policy amount, that is hardly taken into consideration. What is taken into consideration is how much loss have you made. So what is the loss over here in the example? The loss is for 50,000, and so compensation will be made for 50,000 only and not for the full policy amount, that is 2 lakh. The principle of indemnity applies to all contracts except for the contract of life insurance, because estimation regarding loss of life cannot be made. So this is an extra line that we need to understand over here, that whether be fire insurance, whether be it marine insurance, or whether be it any kind of other insurance, we can apply this principle of indemnity. The only place where we cannot apply this principle of indemnity is in the case of life insurance. Why? Because in case of life insurance, we cannot estimate the loss that has happened due to the death of a person. Okay, and that is why the principle of indemnity is not applicable on life insurance policies. But apart from the life insurance policy, to all other insurance policies, this principle is applicable. What is this principle about? This principle is about that whatever loss has been made because of that uncertain event, only that much amount will be compensated to us. Okay. Understood principle of indemnity? Now let's move to principle number 4, which is principle of causa proxima. Now what is principle of causa proxima? It means that the insurance company will compensate for the loss incurred by the insured due to the reasons mentioned in the insurance policy. But if the losses are incurred due to the reasons which is not mentioned in the insurance policy, then the insurer can deny to pay the compensation. Now this is a very simple principle. Over here it is said that the compensation will be made only if there is a loss which is due to the reasons mentioned in the insurance policy. Now what does that mean? Suppose I have taken a fire insurance, right? I've taken a fire insurance. So only if losses happen due to fire insurance, then only I can get a compensation. If losses happen due to any other reasons other than the fire happening, then the insurance company might deny me paying me the compensation, right? I repeat, if the losses happen due to the reasons that are mentioned in my insurance contract, then only I can get a compensation. If the losses happen due to any other reasons except what is written in the insurance contract, then I might not get the compensation. Simple principle. I hope you would not have any difficulty understanding this. Now moving on to the fifth principle of insurance, that is the principle of subrogation. Let's look on to the example. Things will be clear here. See, what is the example saying? The example says that a person has taken a fire insurance policy for his factory. Due to the fire, he suffered a loss of 1 lakh. And then he gets the compensation for the same. So up till here it is okay. He has taken the insurance policy, there was a loss, and he gets a compensation for that. Fair enough. Later on, what happened? The half burnt goods were sold for rupees 10,000. Means as there was a fire, some goods were lost. But after that, the owner saw that some goods are half burnt and this can be sold to some like a scrap, like a waste material. The goods were sold off. How much it was sold off? It was sold for rupees 10,000. Now according to this principle, this income of rupees 10 lakh, this is supposed to be kept by the insurance company and not by the person who has taken the insurance. Why? Because the person who has taken the insurance, he has already got the compensation in his return for his loss. Now what is that extra income for? Whatever was your loss, once you have got the compensation, now why are you taking these extra incomes? Whatever be any kind of these extra incomes, like through selling of the scraps or through selling of the waste materials, that will be taken up by the insurance company and that should not be taken by the insured. Understood principle of subrogation? This principle applies to all insurance contracts which are contracts of indemnity. As per this principle, when an insurance company compensates the insured for the loss, then any rights, means any kind of ownership related to that property, automatically passes through the insurance company. So by selling of the half burnt goods or by selling of the remaining goods through scrap, whatever income is there, that will be passed on to the insurance company. That is actually the right to be taken by the insurance company. Understood principle of subrogation? Now let's move to insurance number 6. I hope I am not going very fast. Anyways, if we complete, I shall revise it again. Let's move to principle number 6, that is principle of contribution. Now this principle of contribution actually happens when a person has taken more than one insurance for the same risk. Suppose I have taken fire insurance policies from two different places. Then this principle will come into consideration. So let's quickly jump into the example and let's understand that how is this principle working. See, a person gets his house insured against fire for rupees 1 lakh. With insurer A, it is 1 lakh, and with insurer B, it is 50,000. So total insurance, how much is that person taking? He is taking 1 lakh rupee insurance from insurer A and he is taking 50,000 insurance from insurer B. If we add up, the total insurance that he is taking is for rupees 1,50,000. Understood? Now there is a fire and there is happening of a loss. A loss of 75,000 is incurred. So who will pay this 75,000? Will it be fully taken from the first person from whom insurance was taken, or will it be taken by the second person because lastly insurance was taken from him only? Who will share, or how will this 75,000 be shared? So we apply this principle of contribution. What is to be done here? Understand that this 75,000 will be divided between the two insurance company. They will share. Insurance A will pay something and company B will pay something. Now how much will they pay? That is the matter of calculation. So let's go on to that. See, compensation from A. How much will A pay? First we have to take that how much insurance was taken from A. So from A, 1 lakh rupee insurance was taken, so that amount will keep in the numerator. And what was the total amount of insurance from both the companies? It was 1,50,000. So when we are calculating compensation from A, how much insurance is taken from A, that we are putting as a numerator. What is my total insurance taken? That means adding up insurance from both the companies, that is put as the denominator, into the loss amount. What is the total loss? The loss is 75,000. So that is calculated, and total amount what we get is rupees 50,000. That means company A will pay a compensation of rupees 50,000. How is that calculated? I hope you understood. If we are calculating about company A, then the specific amount of insurance from company A, that will be put in the numerator. The total insurance amount will be put in the denominator, and it will be multiplied by the amount of loss. So this is how we calculate it for company A. Now we also need to calculate it for company B. Let's have a look on to company B. Compensation from B. So when we are calculating compensation from B, what are we going to put in the numerator? We are going to put the insurance taken from company B. What was the insurance that we took from company B? From company B, we take an insurance of 50,000, right? So over here, we will put 50,000 in the numerator. Then we are going to put the total insurance amount, that is company A plus company B. So that is 1,50,000, and we shall multiply it with the actual loss amount, that is 75,000, and the amount that comes is 25,000. So this is how the amount is actually divided. There was a loss of 75,000, and this 75,000 will be shared in two halves. 50,000 will be paid by company A and 25,000 will be paid by company B. Clear? So that was all about the principle of contribution. Let's read the part that we have left it. See, according to this principle, if a person has taken more than one policy for the same risk, then all the insurers will contribute the amount of loss in proportion, very important line, in proportion to the amount assured by each of them, and compensate for the actual loss, because he has no right to recover more than the full amount of his actual loss. Means whatever be the actual loss, that will be divided in proportion between the two companies. Suppose there were three companies. So in the same way, the amount of loss would have been divided into three companies. And what is the formula for division? Let's have a look onto that. First, in the numerator, we will put the sum assured with the particular insurer. If we are calculating for A, then we will write the amount of insurance taken from insurer A. If we are taking for B, then we will put 50,000, because that is the amount of insurance that we have taken from insurer B. Then we shall divide it with the total sum insured. Means if there is two company, A plus B, that amount we are going to put. If there are three companies, we will put the total insurance amount of A plus B plus C. We'll put it in the denominator. And then we will multiply it with the amount of actual loss. That is, the loss is happening. Same formulas we are going to apply for the two or for the three insurance companies, and then we will calculate each of their shares. Understood? Pretty simple, yet a little technical, but I hope the concept would have been clear to you. Now we have completed the 6 principles and only one principle is left, that is principle of mitigation. Now what is principle of mitigation? This principle actually says that in spite of the fact that we have taken the insurance, we should be still careful of our property. Now, what does that mean? Again, let's take the example of fire insurance. I have taken a fire insurance for my shop, correct? For some reasons, I get an information that there is a fire in my shop, and I sit in a very relaxed way that, oh, there's a fire in my shop. Never mind, I have taken a fire insurance policy. Let my things burn. I will get a compensation. And thinking this way, I sit on my sofa and I have popcorns. No, this attitude is totally wrong. Even if I have taken the insurance, it is my duty to take care of my property. Understood? In the same way as I would have taken care of it without the insurance policy. Now think, for example, there is the fire in my shop, and take into consideration that I have not taken the fire insurance policy. Do you think in that moment I would be sitting and having popcorns? I would have rushed to the spot. I would have tried putting off the fire from my side. Whatever I could do, I would have done. Right? The same way I should have done even if I have taken the policies for me. Understood? The insured should not become careless of his property once he has taken the insurance policy. He becomes very chilled and relaxed that, okay, whatever happens, let it happen. I have the policy with me. I have taken the insurance policy. No. This attitude, this tendency is not allowed due to this principle of mitigation. Let's read what's written here. According to this principle, the insured must take reasonable steps to minimize the loss or damage to the insured property, otherwise the claim for the insurance company may be lost. Okay, I would have tried to take care of my property in the same way as I would have taken care of it if I did not have the policy with me. Clear? Understood? So that is all for today. We'll meet you in the next video. Thank you.